Alright guys, so here's the long-awaited review of the NZG Hitachi 1000 high-reach demolition excavator. Mine is slightly modified. I actually took one of these extensions out of it because I think it looks more balanced like that. So keep that in mind in the review. The base model, so to say, is a tiny bit taller. It's around 2.5–3 inches tall. It's very hard to review a model of this size and proportion, so right now I'm actually just going to go over the actual movements of the model. So it can raise up like this. The jib can extend up to right there, and the stick could come as far down as right there. And it can go as far up as to right there. It's a very tall model. You can put it in just about any position you want. As you could tell, go out real far with it. And the tool has perfect movement. Now that I got that through, I also want to put out there that I didn't make this review any sooner because my cylinders cracked and I was waiting for replacement cylinders for NZG to come in, so that's what the delay was for, and I didn't want to put the cracked cylinder in the review. So let's get this thing started and I'll get you through all the details and the pros and the cons of the model. Alright, so the model itself has a very nice amount of detail, and whenever I show a review of this model or pictures, everyone always manages to somehow bring up the WSI 870. And one thing I want to put out there, compared to the WSI 870, when I look at the WSI 870, this side of the body always seems very flat to me. It always looks like one just sheet of metal, and this one doesn't give me that look. I don't know why, but that's just the way it looks. Another thing I don't like about WSI 870 are the skinny tracks, especially on the standard demolition one. Actually the standard excavator one, and they have the skinny ones on the demolition one. But this is a high-reach machine working demolition, so the skinny tracks, I believe there is an exception. There's not an exception to the width of this undercarriage. It is just way too skinny for the machine. I don't know why they put that on here. The pads, I could see, I would have liked them wider, but the undercarriage, this skinny, I really, if they made one wider, I'd buy it wider because I really don't like the width of the undercarriage. Besides that, the pads are very nice. The grousers aren't that tall on them, but it really doesn't matter to me. They're double grouser pads, and they do roll pretty smooth. Sometimes they give you a little issues, but for the most part, they roll very smoothly. They have these two jacks on here, which are screw down as well, and I put this one down a little bit so you could see. And they will hold the weight of the model. And these are on here because you can actually take off these track frames, which I think is very cool. I don't do it very often, but I do like that they do give you the option to do that, so you can display it in transport mode. The actual frames of the tracks are decent. There's really not much to say about them. I do believe that they don't show any rolls underneath there for actual guarding, since it does work in demolition. They also have tensioners, but watch out when you do this because they're basically just clipped to each other, and I have experience where mine has fallen out, and it can get a little irritating when you go to put them back in. The actual cab of the machine is very nice. It does seem a little crowded, I have to say, but extremely nice. I love the cab guarding on this machine. I do wish that there would have been an option, or at least they just would have added the tilt cab or a cab riser, because for a rig of this height, it does seem like they would have had one. But besides the fact, very nice cab guard on it. I like it a lot. The inside of the cab detail, you could barely see it, but it does have very nice detail in it as well. The catwalks on the side of the machine, I questioned them when I first bought the machine because they're spaced apart and everything. On the real machine, they are like that. So that's the reason why they have the spacing in them. I would believe that is so they can fold up. Maybe they could even actually bolt off the machine. I'm really not that sure. But that's why they're like that. They are a little thick, and they are plastic, but they have very nice detail on them. The side of the body, is very nice. And I don't want to stay too long on the actual body because I think everyone watching this review is waiting for the boom, but there are things that I do have to go over. Side of the body is very nice. All the handrails are metal, including these, all of them on the machine. This door does open to reveal the inside, and the inside does have the anti-slip texture, and against the service doors does have handles replicated and everything like that. One thing I like about this is it's very hard to make out the hinges. They're painted, and there's not really that much of a crease or an indent right there, which I think is a very large plus. They replicated the doors. Unfortunately, they don't open. There's nothing really you could do about them. And then there's the Hitachi decal, excuse me. Coming around the back of it, and this is going to be hard to do because there's a problem with the cylinders even still. The back of it has the big Hitachi counterweight, and it reminds me of an older series Hitachi. It also has these handrails up top, I guess, to get to the counterweights. And also the counterweights is 4 slabs, and they're very hard to take out. But there's 4 slabs, and they just come out like so. And they lock into each other with these little tabs. And I found the best way to put them in is to drop one side and then drop the other. And do them one by one, because if you get them stuck, they're extremely hard to take out. And they just drop in like so. I think that's pretty cool. Don't really weigh too much. I don't think they actually do anything. But like I said, it's just I guess you could say it's a thought that counts. Hitachi logo and the warning labels. Here's the right side, and I still can't figure out if I like the right side or the left side better on the model. The right side is very cool. I love the huge vents. I'm a big fan of the huge vents, and I just really, I don't know if I like the cab or the big vents better. Over here, these are all metal. This one's a little loose because right before I started the review, actually, I dropped the model. Luckily, I caught it, but I caught it on the handrail, and it's a little bent and loose, but I could always fix that up. Doesn't really matter. Another cool thing is I like how the colors blend on this model. And now we're actually going to get to the top. So here's the top of the model. Very detailed, I believe. It's got a lot of hoses. One cool thing I like about it is up top where the hydraulics run to the body, it's got the anti-slip texture. And it's also got the caps with the bolt detail. And I think that's a big plus. It's also got for the fuel over here, and like I said, the hydraulic lines running to the top. And if we spin around, check out the doors back here, and it's got a fan right there and everything like so. The counterweight can actually totally remove, and I'll get to that later when I show the track frames. Now, the base of the machine is the same exact thing on the 3-piece boom. And a good thing about this model is that the boom actually comes off, and pretty much it just comes off from these 2 pins that slide out right here, and it pops off like so. And if you were to transport the model, this is how you would transport it, and it's your option to leave the track frames or the counterweights on. These lines here, the ones that actually run to on top of the boom, they used to fit. They don't fit anymore. I think that they actually shrunk, and they feel like they're gonna crack because they're rubber, and I think the rubber is actually losing the oil in them, and they feel like they're gonna crack. I don't actually touch this model too much, and not that I regret buying it, but after owning it, if I had the option to buy it, I probably wouldn't, and it's because I don't get too much use out of it. And there's one thing that I do not like about it, and I'm going to get to that. But anyway, the back of it has the hydraulic lines casted in, and they come up the side of the boom. It's also got these cool caps over here. Now, the reason this review was delayed is because over here, these cylinders here to raise the boom don't actually hold it. because it's so heavy. And what I did was I actually I drilled a hole in them and I put a pin in, and I forgot the pin was there, and I pulled down on the boom and I cracked the cylinder. I contacted NZG and told them what happened, and luckily they were nice enough to send me replacement cylinders, and that's why the review was delayed, because I didn't want to show the review with the cracked cylinders. But the inside, it's hard to do this review because this model is so out of proportion. But it's got the 2 horns and the swing motors in there. Now, attaching the boom is very simple. I pretty much just put it all like that and just slide the pins in. But I'm not going to keep the boom on because it's hard to move the model around when you have the boom in, or at least for the review, I should say. So, here's the boom. These pieces on here are actually just extensions, and you could take them off. I actually took one of them off because I think it looks better scale-wise. It has friction pins. Unfortunately, they aren't painted, but they're not that noticeable at all. The top has the lines casted in on them, and then jumping from the section, it has the rubber lines. And how you would take these off is you pretty much just pop the pins and then put the lines on. And another reason why I took it off is because it's hard to display on my shelf and how I have it, so that's another reason why I took them off. I believe these little tabs right there are lifting hooks, but they're not drilled out, because I would believe to transport this boom with the size of the jib would be extremely difficult. It also has the line coming off the top down to the cylinder to curl to the jib. Now, one thing I don't like about this model is the size of the jib. I understand it's for an extreme reach, but I've seen, you know, maybe 8 or 10 high reach machines in person, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but you don't really see that many high reach machines, or you know, in a normal town. And the ones that I've seen has had the very short ones, and I've thought about actually cutting it and shortening it, but I don't want to wreck it. I like to keep my model stock. Not that it would wreck it, but I like to keep my model stock. And that's one thing that I think just makes the model look very out of proportion, and it's one reason why I like the 3-piece boom better, is because this very long stick. Where this machine works, which is I believe Asia and Japan and China, and I don't know if those are all the same in all the same countries or continent or whatever you want to call them, but over there that's how they have their high reaches. So it differs from America. This is a foreign machine, thus the 1000. The American machine is the 850. Another reason why I won't buy the 870. I'd rather have an 850, just a number. Anyway, the jib has the lines casted in as well. It's got the lifting hooks, because I believe when you would transport this machine, you would actually take the jib apart from the stick and the boom, since it's so large. The stick itself it actually stops the lines coming off the top and runs them down the side, and pretty much has the more rubber hoses. And then you get to the work tool, which I'm really not a fan of. It's a great model, but there are small things that I don't like, and that's what's stopping me from buying the new one, the white one, plus the color. The work tool, which is a little pair of snips, you know, kind of small, and it's like a scissor. It's not really like a Jaws or a crusher. It does spin a 360. I can't deny that it's not a nice tool, because it really is. The movement is great. It comes back very far, and it also comes in very far. And then they close. They are very hard to close, I must say. And once you have them closed, it's pretty hard to get them back open again. But I can't deny the fact that it's a very nice tool. A little small, but I guess for the length and just the weight of the machine, and the weight of the boom, I should say, on the machine, a small work tool is necessary. It is riveted to it, which is strange because the rest of it's friction pins. But that's just the way that they put it. Now I'm gonna actually attach it to it, and then I'll give my final opinion on it, and if I think that it's worth it. And I'll try to get the best pose for it, but again, it's hard because it won't actually hold up. And I'm not even gonna bother to attach the black hydraulics. I'm sure people want to see it as high as possible, but I don't want it to drop. I guess I'll just display it. I'll put it down because I don't want it to drop. So anyway, the model retails for $230, which obviously for $230 you get a decent amount of model plus some. I'm actually going to show you the extension that I took off it. Here it is right here, so you would have plus that. I think it looks better proportioned like this. The only thing that I really don't like about it is the long jib and the skinny undercarriage. Besides that, for $230, you definitely get enough model for it. You get a nice amount of detail. I know somewhere in the comments someone is going to say WSI 870 has more detail. And that probably is true, but this isn't a WSI model, and it's completely different from a WSI model. And it's also not a standard excavator. There's not too many high-reach machines on the market. I'm glad that I bought one. I'm also kind of regretting that I bought one because it was a lot of money for it, and I really don't do much with it. You could probably blame myself for that, but I also have to partially blame NZG because these cylinders really don't hold up the model. Also keeping in mind that the boom is extremely heavy. When I actually unboxed these models, I ordered the 3-piece and this at the same time, and you could tell the weight difference between the high reach because the high reach is much heavier. But anyway, definitely a great model. It's an odd model, I have to say. If you're looking to get one and you're not sure to get one, definitely get one. As much as I said good about it, I probably also said some bad things about it. And I wouldn't tell anyone not to buy the model. I definitely say buy it, but also keep in mind that there are some things bad about it, and really the only thing that I would say would actually stop someone from buying it are the cylinders. The rest are my personal preferences. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you want me to make a video with myself debating on whether to get the 3-piece or this, let me know, because it'll probably be a pretty interesting video. But hope you liked the review, guys. Out of 10 stars, I'd probably rate it a 9. So, hope you liked it.